That's a clean one. I brought the cup clean. You want some water? Yes. I'll bring another bowl. Okay. What's that?
There should be balance so people watch it.
Yes, people from before. Yes. Hey, stop there. I watch this. Amen.
Chodesh Tov.
Chodesh Tov.
The truth is that I saw the holy book that we're learning, Devorah. Many tzaddikim that had it in there, they just learn it every week. As a matter of fact, I saw from one of the tzaddikim, the learning, he writes there, tzaddikim, that person has a shiur kavua b'chesed la'avraham. And in the Talmud Devorah, person has a set learning in this book. It's definite that you're a ben olam haba, because all this book is about teaching us how to be a ben of olam haba, how to be a olam haba type of person in this world. The kimei shamayim ala haaretz. There's days of heaven that you could live on earth, bringing heaven to earth. Kimei shamayim ala haaretz. But especially Rosh Chodesh is a time of revelation of the Rachamim of Hashem, the mercy of Hashem. The Rachamim of Hashem comes into the world. We always see the same number of 13. 13 is the magical number. This is how the true essence of the Creator is revealed in the world. We call it that the true unity, and that means the true mercy. This mercy travels in 13. Yud Gimel Tikunei Dikna. It says in the Lashon of the Zohar Kadosh, the holy beard, the beard of, there's 13 channels in the beard that bring down the flow. That's why when a person gets old, they get a beard. A child doesn't have a beard. The beard, the women have also a spiritual beard. Women have 9 points of the beard, men have different points. Of course, that means the ability of a beard is right. When Yitzchak gets old, now he could call Esav and give him the bracha. Of course, he gets old and he closes his eyes, right? There's so much talking about closing your eyes, but there's so much talking about aging. Aging is not something that we should be fighting, anti-aging, right? Something we should embrace, we should love, we should understand that the Torah is machshiv zikna. Torah is machshiv, is values the idea of zikna, because it's zaken is zaken maleh rachamim. The idea of age comes with mercy. The reason that age is valuable is because age brings with it the ability to be merciful, and that's makes you more creator-like, right? That's why that's why white hair is rachamim. Zaken maleh rachamim. When Hashem was revealed to Am Yisrael in different revelations, they saw different images, right? And when Hashem was revealed in Yam Suf, he was revealed like a young, 20-year-old warrior, killing his enemies. But when he was revealed in Har Sinai, it was like Zaken Maleh Rachamim, like I'm just seeing like an old white beard with and seeing that love. So when Hashem reveals his true essence, he reveals his Rachamim. Rosh Chodesh that we're in today, Rosh Chodesh in general is also, we see that it follows the same, right? It's 12, but really 13. The Jewish month is really tricky. The 13th, that maybe in the world is such a scary number, for us is such an exciting number, right? The 13th is the Achdut, and we have our month, which is the same as our Shvatim, right? The Shvatim are also 12, but they're really 13. Right? Yosef divides into 2, Menashe and Ephraim, and our months are also 12, but they're 13. Chodesh Adar is divided into Adar Rishon, Adar Sheni, which brings us to 13. So that means that Am Yisrael is involved in bringing forth the influence of mercy, meaning that the key word of Am Yisrael is Rachamim. Rachamim, because if Avraham is Chesed and Yitzchak is Devorah, then Yaakov is Rachamim. So we could find by Goyim Chesed, you could find by Goyim Din. You can't find Rachamim by Goyim. En Kazadavar. Rachamim is an attribute that is invented by Am Yisrael. The mercy in the world doesn't exist. The natural world, there's no mercy. Is not a part of the food chain. It's not a part of the jungle laws. It's brought in by a nation that's here to bring in life, to foster life. We're bringing in the Chaim himself, and the only way life could exist here is with mercy. This is Bereshit bara Elohim et hashamayim et haaretz. The world is created with midat adin, with the attribute of din, but the world actually can't stand with midat adin. It needs the joining of midat rachamim. So the world is still created in the same way. That means the Creator creates the world constantly with din, and then there's an intervention of midat rachamim, which allows life to actually flow into the world. Who brings in the rachamim? The partners, Am Yisrael. That means that us and God, we're gods right now in the world, and the ability of the mercy that exists in the high world to flow into this world, that depends on Am Yisrael. How much mercy are we bringing in? There's no one else that can bring in mercy. No one's involved in rachamim.
What about, like, I don't know, Mother Teresa? She's a person. It doesn't exist. Even then.
There's chesed, right? So there's chesed. You have to understand that there's people, when a person follows his natural self, so that many things will happen. You take 100 people, put them in a room, and each one just follow your heart. So some people will be extremely vicious and some people naturally are just extremely kind. Now, if you take that person that's extremely kind and say, I need you right now to go and sacrifice something or circumcise a child, they won't be able to. They'll see blood, they'll faint. So that means that's not a godlike behavior. That's following myself. Like for me, I can't see someone hungry. I can't do that. Like there's nothing godly about that. Meaning the ability to have a chamim is to see nature and to have something higher and say, wait, this doesn't deserve it. There's something here that this creation does not deserve life right now. But there's a anhaga, there's a will from the Creator that there should be rachamim. This is something that we have in our essence. That's why you look at the nisyonot of every person. So it's always about going against your nature. It's never about following your nature. If you have a great nature, that's great. You're not meant to be that. There's something else you're meant to eventually grow into. Okay.
Is there compassion? Compassion?
In English, these words become very, very, it becomes about semantics because everyone can have compassion. But the word rachamim, let's take the word rachamim and understand that, and it's not chesed. There could be a lot of chesed.
That's why I was confusing.
People say America, a kingdom of chesed. There's a lot of chesed going on. Also chesed, Balatanya speaks about chesed leumim tatat. That's not the area. I don't want to discuss that. Let's just say, I want to connect more to the idea of the 13 Midot Shel Rachamim and connect to the fact that today is Rosh Chodesh. And Rosh Chodesh is about, we see that we're following this number 13, is about this nation standing up and saying time is not a chunk of continuum. Time has a head. Time has a beginning. So Am Yisrael, we're putting meaning into time. We're defining time. Rosh Hashanah, Rosh Chodesh is a Shana, and the Shana has a Rosh. Whoever said that? What's the significance of a head in time? Obviously, the significance of a head is that what happens in the head will manifest throughout the entire body. Rosh Hashanah, we do simanim. Right? You dip the apple in the honey, Shana Tova Metuka. You eat the fish head, how does this work? You just dip the apple in the honey and the whole year works good? Well, if you're sinning in the head and you do that, then the entire body will go in that direction. So the Rosh is very, very significant. And that's another window for us to understand the Rachamim of Hashem. Hashem creates time in a way that there's a head of time and there's a body of time, so to speak. We could always meet at the head and bring mercy into the system. So these midot that we're discussing is how a person graduates from being a human, a small, self-centered human, and rises to become a zaken, maleh rachamim, to really be full of compassion and full of mercy by emulating, by copying the midot of Hashem. Mahu rachum, afata rachum. Is it a question that was?
For later, I just want to put something. From what you're saying, it's complicated to me, which it always is about Hagar, and why she then had to see the rachamim displayed for her or to this child creation.
Right.
For later, like
Actually, this is these parshas are fascinating because these concepts of Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov are not miniature concepts in our life. Our entire connection to Hashem in Shemona Esrei is based on these people that are sfirot. Avot hem hem merkava. So the reason we go over the parsha every year is really like mamash meant to get deeper and deeper every year. It's like a mantra. It's the ultimate mantra of life. Get deeper and deeper. And the Shemona Esrei is just deeper and deeper and deeper. And the more you understand these figures, the more we understand Hashem. Because you're right, Avram is chesed, and we see that there's a wrong way to do it also. And Yitzchak is Gvura, and there's a wrong way to do that also. It's interesting. Like you look at these great people, and there's deviation of the truth of chesed and this deviation of Gvura. Yisrael, which is really who we are, Am Yisrael, we're not called, even though Avram Avinu started the mission, and Yitzchak was really, each one is Gevalt, Kodesh Kodashim, but we're called B'nai Yisrael. Our mission in life is to carry on the flag, says Yisrael. And Yisrael really is the mercy. Yisrael is Rachamim, that's where the whole Torah is called Rachmana, in the word in Aramaic, the Torah is called Rachmana Amar. Because the Torah really is Rachman. That's what the Torah is made out of mitzvot aseh, positive, which stem from love or chesed, Abraham, and mitzvot lo ta'aseh, refrain from doing, which is Gevurah. So the Torah itself, which is Yaakov, includes in him Abraham and Yitzchak, which is the right way. And Hagar and Esav, those would be the wrong ways to do chesed. So you're right, like that's a separate conversation. So now, if we're talking about the 13 Yudgim and Midot Shel Achamim, we mentioned this earlier. It's important to mention it again because it's not a regular Rosh Chodesh, it's Rosh Chodesh Kislev. Rosh Chodesh Kislev, Maharal teaches us that obviously the Rosh will contain the entire month. It will just, everything that's happening in the next month is happening today. It will just unfold. Just like everything that happens in the entire year happened on Rosh Hashanah in a microcosmic, chip kind of way. It will just unfold throughout the year.
Holographic.
It will just unfold throughout the year. So now, now we can start talking about Chanukah, because it's mamash Chanukah. Because Chanukah is the time that the Creator of the world, we can see what is the mercy of God look like? How good is it really? Well, you want to see how good? Let's look at Chanukah, right? You have a massive Hellenist army, Greek, conquering the world. It's not just people, just really the influence and turnover of history of everything. And they get stuck. They have this one bone get stuck in their throat. These Jewish guys and it's not even the Jewish army. There's no tzal. There's no nothing. It's like 10 rabbis. Like imagine like 10 zaydis. Heroes, but like 10 guys.
That's scary.
10 kohanim. These are high priests. High priests are very elevated people. These people were brought up in super ghettos. The kohanim were in a holy way. Like they were brought up in very holy ways. Were very disconnected from the world, connected but also very elevated. These are very holy people, the Hashmonai. And obviously they stand and they cry to the Creator of the world, and he just shows up. And when obviously the war wasn't won by them, it was entourage of godliness that came in and he just showed up. And you have Rabbim Beyad Ma'atim, Tmeim Beyad Torim, Rashaim Beyad Tzadikim. Wow, this is what it looks like. That means that we're entering a season where it doesn't make a difference what's going on in your life. It really doesn't make a difference because we're the energy that we're right now having is we're calling upon the Yudgim Midot of Hashem. And when that comes, really, nature just fades. There's nothing. So since that's going to be the energy of Chanukah, Bayamim Ahem, but Bazman Hazeh, we're never in history. Judaism does not celebrate history at all. We have nothing to do with history. We're always in the present. The history is just the Creator opening the window, the curtain, to show us what He is, not what He was, but He's showing us this is what I am, and this is how I treat people that have relationships, and this is how when I show up. This is what it looks like. So He's showing people what. So Chanukah is about remembering that we have this relationship, and we're calling it. So what it looks like is it's going to be the Creator shifting from like a natural like. Hey, I'm dealing with you guys natural. It's only opening the curtain and you see like Zaidi coming out. It's like, whoa, okay, here's your Hanukkah presents and everything's Gaval. That's what it looks like. That's really what the miracle of Hanukkah looked like. So it has to do with the revelation of the beard or the Gimel Midot Shel Achamim. That's how we said that the bracha of Ladlik Ner Chanukah has 13 words. It's not a coincidence. The bracha not every bracha has the same amount of words. Right? So bracha of Motzi last time we mentioned has 10 fingers. They have to bring out the food and take this wheat and then take it out of the 10 curses, the Avodah Marishon, and bring it back to Biachala. And the women are involved in this and they use their hands. And so we make the bracha, we put our 10 fingers, and the bracha has 10 words to symbolize this. The Rishonim and the Pais can speak about this. It's clear. When it comes to Ner Chanukah, the bracha has 13 words. And the Arizal connects every one of the brachas with one of the 13 midot of Hashem. So we say Baruch, it's really the El, Rachum, Bechanum, Erech HaPayim, V'Rav Chesed Ve'emet, Notzer Chesed La'alafim, Noseh Avon, Nofesha V'Chatav V'Nakeh. So we're saying these words, but what's entering the world is this Yud Gimel Midot Shel Rachamim. That's what we're inviting in our being. So that's why this learning right now is so important to understand, because we're going to daven by the Hanukkah candles, and we know, like, Gevald, what to daven for. The whole thing is Rachamim, Rachamim, mercy, creator of the world. You gave man the ability to realize that you're good. And you put man in a place where there's so much pain. Why? Why is this contrast? You made us aware of you and your greatness, but you're putting us in the low of the low. Why? That's that we have the answer in this week's parasha. Sulam mutzav arza, v'rosho magia shamayma. We are the ladder. Each one of us is a ladder that are mutzav arza. That we have a body made out of the lowest physical elements, earth and water and mamash gashmi. V'rosho magia shamayma. Our essence is chelek Elohim mal mamash. Each one of us represents the entire Am Yisrael. It's unbelievable. But what a shidduch. Like, put the highest and the lowest together. Why? So now you are in everything. And now since you're aware of the high and aware of the low, then you could daven. You could do tefillah. Tefillah is the only one that could do tefillah is Adam. No one else can do tefillah, not the angels. The angels have shirah, not tefillah. Shirah is their natural song that they sing. That's like, but they can never sing more than their song. No malach can do 2 shlichuyot, but an Adam can do 1,000,000 shlichuyot. Meaning, the Adam is made to do 2 shlichuyot. That's the essence of a man, is to do a double mission. Be in a body, be in a soul, and then tell the creator of the world, the mercy that you're showing in the high heavens, that you showed Avram and Yitzchak and Yaakov, it's still the same you. Show it here, show it on us. It's still in the present, meaning we're the only ones that can connect the past and the present to our being, to our experience, to our life. Okay? So we'll do quick. We have the first 2 midas, right? Mi el kamocha. Is there a creator like you? Is there a powerful, mighty creator with so much strength that is being abused? His permission is being abused, and he's still mi el kamocha. He's being embarrassed, and he's just taking it in. What a strength, right? What a strength. Holding back, like you could just turn on the light, but you're not. You're just letting it be. You're letting bechira. You're letting it. The second one was said was nosevon, even higher. Because a person is so important and a person is so significant that everything that we do has an effect. Everything we do creates angels. There are massive angelic worlds that have your name and your name. There's angels of Avram and Moshe. Every person has angels with their angels. And the negative angels, everything needs nourishment, everything needs food. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu is nosev, when he lifts up the sin, he feeds the sin, which is, again, you could have told the sin, go back to your father, go back to your mother, let them support you. That would be horrible. So no, I will take care of you. Means this is another revelation, and this is causing this delay, this suspense in the system that gives us the chance to do tshuva. And this is, again, the midah of rachamim al Hashem. The third midah we're going to get to is over al pesha. So obviously every midah is exponentially more, the chesed of Hashem. Every midah will have what to add on the previous midah. And every midah Hashem shows a higher level of rachamim.
Are the midot the salah?
The midot are not the sulam.
Okay.
The sulam is the Adam. The Adam, in his highest form, has a clear relationship with the midot of Hashem. So in his lowest form, he feels the midot in their galus, in their broken form. In his highest form, he feels the midot in their pure form. And the connecting them is the sulam. The sulam is you. There's nothing else that feels the everything, only an Adam, only a Yid. So, okay, this is the Rasha speaks about this, Sasama speaks about this, everyone talks about this. This is like very good. Okay. Zumi Dagdola, Over al Pesha. So the Over al Pesha is, so there's different words that describe sin, even in Lashon HaKodesh and in Hebrew, also legally. Like if a person's a Pesheya or they're a Ganav, a person can make a mistake. But Pesha is a crime. On purpose. It would be a premeditated, yeah, like the highest level. Pesha is a pesha, daylight, broad daylight. So let's talk about forgiveness. So forgiveness is like what a loaded topic, so deep. So let's say a person has the greatness, and obviously forgiveness requires great maturity and great, kids can't forgive. They don't have to sometimes because they just move on to the next thing. Like kids fight in 2 minutes are on the next thing. But might say they don't really get caught up to forgive. Like they don't really get hurt enough to have to forgive. But like once the forgiveness, mamish takes greatness. Because if I have to forgive you, I have to like be bigger than you. If I'm hurt by you, if I'm smaller than you, I'm still I want to be right, you know? So forgiveness is great, but now forgiveness could also happen in many ways. I could send someone to apologize. Like, I don't want to see you. I'll send you a message or something. Imagine like, would I meet you for dinner to sit down and talk about how I want to apologize? I don't know. Let's see. How does Hashem apologize? Hashem doesn't send messengers. When Hashem comes to give the cleansing, the purity, he doesn't send angels. He comes himself. This is something we in Aseret Yemei Teshuvah, Am Yisrael adds every day. Shira Ma'alot Ma'amakim Karaticha Adonai. Every day we stand, we open down Kodesh, and we say these are 10 days. It's not regular 10 days. They're 10 days of Asara Makim. There's 10 depths revealed, and Mimakim. We're going into our Omek, where every year it has an Omek, every year it has a depth. We go to this Ma'amakim, and in this deep connection to Hashem, we say Ki Imcha Slicha. Forgiveness is with you. So that gives yira. Wow, Hashem is forgiving. Not like forgiveness doesn't come from like some angel. Like no, when I'm forgiving, it's by Hashem. What a mighty Maya Slicha. He cleanses and cleans the sin. When the Navi describes the cleansing, it is described as a rechitza, as water. Interesting, water is the cleaning agent of the world. And water is mikvah. The Rambam in Ilchot Mikvahot, when he discusses mikvah, at the end of the Rambam, he says, he kind of like, asks, he says, what is this? What does it mean that water rinses away impurity? What impurity is mud? It's dirt. How do you go into mikvah and come out holy? What goes on in the mikvah? He says what happens is that the ikar mikvah is when a person goes into meimei adat, when a person cleanses their mind. That means that a person has in this world the ability to, we all have a name, we all have an independence. We all have the ability to fall into that facade that we're independent of life. And that's tumah. When a person falls into their own thing, into their trip, into their own little thing, they're away from the klal, they're in the prat. The prat is tumah. The klal doesn't get tumah. Only the prat gets tumah. Tumah hutah b'tzibur. The tzibur never gets tumah. The klal always stays developed. The tzibur is every person could, very often fall into their little thing. But the klal stays developed. So the rechitza, so when a person goes into the water, a person goes to the mikveh, they go out of their whatever mayim hazedonim, out of the wrong waters, and they kind of like connect to the great body of water. Like it's really like, even like a child going into their mother's womb, like just being in the womb and being in those pre-creation waters. That means there's a greater klal than me. That even though, yes, in this experience, I could set myself aside and fall into a tumah, but I could also, the Creator made a safeguard where I could just remember that Ani Yehudi, I'm Am Yisrael, and I want to go back to that feeling. I don't want to be contaminated by my private tumah. I want to go into that. And that's really the side of the mikvah. We see that all rechitza and all tahara has to do with water. Water, kabbalistically, is chesed. So the oimek is that a person goes into the chesed of Hashem. That means that when a person wakes up one day and says, "Gevald efani ba'olam," how did I get where I am? I'm so far. I'm so lost. I'm so impure. So what do they need? They need a mamash, the biggest hug in the world. They need the hug from Hashem. Hashem says, like we said by the Chet HaEgel. The Chet HaEgel is the sin. What's the tikkun? Is Yom Kippur is called Imailah. Yom Kippur is Para Aduma. Also Para Aduma. Also Yom Kippur is called Imailah, Bina. So that means the mother has to clean away the kid. So that means there's always a feeling of a mother, of love, of water that has to bring back the child, the lost, the private, the person that fell into a private experience of chet. So this rechitza comes from Hashem. That means that Hashem, what would it feel like? Okay, like what's the difference to me? Who cleanses my soul in heavens? Is it an angel or God? What does it feel different to me now? But that means that the Baal Tshuva, when he does Tshuva, he gets to a higher level than a tzaddik. That means that a Baal Tshuva runs from the distance that he's at, from the darkness that he's at, runs to the Creator so much, and the Creator himself opens up his arms to bring him in. So he receives a tremendous, tremendous revelation of Hashem. He means Gilui Lekus. That means he reaches a higher level of a tzaddik. That means in order to heal him, Hashem mamish like embraces him with even deeper essence than it was before. Because you need more in order to make the relationship better. You need to come with a stronger love in order not to go back to the same place you were before. So this is Rachat Hashem Adonai Tzad Natzion. Zarakti Alechem Mayim Teorim. Again, another pasuk that describes the Creator throwing holy water on us. Zarakti Alechem. And this, obviously, in the Navi will show us that we're going to be at a great distance. It's going to need to be thrown at us. That means that we're going to be Zarakti Alechem Mayim Teorim, waters of Tahara, which is these waters of Tahara, which is the mikveh, which is the love, which is the chesed. Like this, I'll give you such an understanding that I love you so much and I'm close to you so much. It's going to bring you back to become Am Yisrael, and you'll go out of all your sins. Like you're going to go into the mikveh of love of essence of Hashem. He sends the water of rechitza, of cleanness, and he washes over the pesha. So now this is how the Creator does it. That means that about tshuva we're seeing doesn't say, the Creator doesn't tell him, okay, you did a sin, okay, let's just clean slate. From now on, be a good guy. That's not how it works, about you. Your averas become mitzvahs. What does that mean? What does that mean? How does my selfish acts, how does that make me now into heavenly acts of connection and becoming? And how does that work? That means that this great distance that I went, that I fell into, when I recognize how far I am from my essence, from the Creator, and from life, and I give that far cry, oh, Gewalt, where am I? And I cry to Hashem. Hashem opens up his arms. He brings me back closer than I was before. So because the slicha is through the midot of rachamim. The midot of rachamim were not revealed before. The midot of rachamim needed to be revealed because I needed them. I need mercy. So that need for mercy created that mercy. But that mercy, guess what? You have it. It's so close.
Is it that the tzaddik does not need the mercy?
The tzaddik
does not need, and that's why it's such a different.
Right. So the tzaddik and the Baal Tshuva, there's a lot of discussion. The Gemara itself that says that the Baal Tshuva is greater than the tzaddik, that's a machlokes.
Yeah.
It's a machlokes Rechov and Rish Lakish. Rish Lakish himself was a Baal Tshuva, and that's why he is always the Rebbe of all the Baal Tshuva. And in all Shas, he's saying how the Baal Tshuva. Rabbi Yochanan is the Rebbe of the tzaddik.
Yeah.
But in Chabad, the deep Torah of Chabad, they speak about Mashiach. And the avodah of Mashiach is to bring the tzaddikim to be on the level of Baal Tshuva, because is what the Baal Tshuva has what to add. So there's no question why should a person, just because he's a tzaddik, should miss out on 13 midas of Hashem and not be a Baal Tshuva. So the great tzaddikim, Rav Kook speaks about this, and great tzaddikim, what did they tshuva in Yom Kippur? What is the Shamla? So that means they're connected to the essence of life. They're connected to the distance that life is from the Creator. They want things to return. It's not about, I'm sorry, I did this. It's like, I want things to be the way they should be. Why isn't mankind not in Gan Eden with you, Creator? So they're frustrated, or their tshuva is from the tshuva of where the world is holy.
Right. But then we just saw in the parsha that Hashem listened to
Hagar.
Yitzhak and not Rivka.
I'm so happy you're bringing up that question, because we're all about tshuva, and this I'm going to tell you about Torah that mamish have to know.
Yes, because that is
like Shlomo was able to change your life. So, just to explain the strength in your question, we had last week's Parashat Toledot. We have Yitzchak Avinu and Rivka. They were both barren, and they both needed prayers for a supernatural intervention to have kids. So Rashi teaches us that Yitzchak and Rivka both daven, and Hashem says V'yater lo Hashem. Hashem answers him, and why him and not her? Why? Because Eina Doimet Tfilat Tzadik Ben Tzadik Tfilat Tzadik Ben Rasha. It's not. You can't compare the davening of a Tzadik Ben Tzadik, FFB in our words, right? It's like when Abraham, he was the first FFB. He was born. He was the first man to have a bris at 8 days old. He was the first person in the world to have it right, much. The Tzadik Ben Tzadik. Well, imagine the son of Abraham Avinu.
And he never left the land.
Never left the land.
He was lifted to the
He was lifted. He was shechted. He was in Gan Eden for 3 years. I know you guys learned all the tribute to Drashim. Yitzchak is a mystery of all mysteries, like Gaval. Be higher than Yitzchak. And Rivka, who's Rivka? She's the daughter of Lavan, like Mamish, the gangster of all gangsters. I imagine like Al Capone's sister, like Davia, like you know what I'm saying? A big gross yichus. And she grew up in Chicago, right? It was gross yichus. It said Tzadik ben Rashi. I think okay, she made it. But when it comes to heaven, Tzadik ben Tzadik. That's what you would think of Pshat, and that brings a big chalishas, that bring a big weakness to Baal Tshuva, which is definitely not the intention. Anything that brings you to a weakness means that we don't understand it to the Omek, because the Torah is empowering every yid all the time. One of the tzaddikim said about this something so beautiful. He says, when you go into shul, you see a guy mamish davening. He's not talking in shul, he's mamish davening. He's Baal Tshuva. Makes sense. He grew up, a life of no meaning, just a life of, running after money and stupidity. And one day, Gaval, he finds meaning, he finds life. Everything is so holy. Every word by him is like counting diamonds. He's davening. Is that a chiddush? No. But you go into shul and you see a guy that was born from, and he's davening. Wow, that's a chiddush. If you were born from, how are you inspired?
You don't know the worst of the worst.
That means that you did tremendous work of transformation. You have disattached from Abraham. Because if you're just Yitzchak because your father's Abraham, then you're really nothing. Because what'd you do? What'd you become? What'd you give Hashem? But Yitzchak is not a son of Abraham. He is the opposite of Abraham. That means that he had to do total avodah of Devorah, which is, when Abraham was a Rebbe, he made a big tent with 4 doors. Welcome world, everyone. Come, Sdaim, everyone. He loved everyone. Simcha Buddha says when Yitzchak Avinu became Rebbe, he changed the whole anhag. He took a hammer and nails, and he banged all 4 doors closed. He was totally different than his father. He sat inside a room and he was trembling with fear of Hashem, and the whole world knew Yesh Din v'Yesh Dayan. The whole world knew as a judge to the world. His trembling was like it's different anhaga. So to see someone that's born from and can become something, that's a bigger chiddush. So it's not the lesson the Ma'ila about tshuva. It's to tell you that about tshuva that's davening with excitement, Shkoyach, Baruch Hashem, it's so gewalt. But if you're able to be born from and to find your way, that's a chiddush. And that's really, in a certain sense, answering your question, but that's really a lot of our generation now. Yeah. A lot of people that are born into frumkeit, born into religion, they realize that life is not about being religious. Religion could be the worst thing that ever happened to you if you're not connected. Right. So if a person's born religious and then to seek and find your own connection, that would be a tzaddik that's about tshuva. That would be like, wow. Okay. Which I see more in our generation, I see this a lot. People that are born from, so by the time they're 20, they're not religious, but they know Gemara, they know halakha, they know how to read, and then by the time they're 22, they become Baal Tshuva and they're Gebal.
And his name means laughter.
Yitzchak.
Yes.
Means laughter, means
there's an element
of future, Yitzchak.
Of that rejoicing, right. Laughter, that unbounded joy, that unbound joy.
Yes. Yeah. Because Yitzchak is bound. Yitzchak from the outside looks like the bad guy. Because if you're looking at the flow of the creation to the world, so first you have Avram. Wow, that's like love, like looking at the sun, like energy and flow and healing and never stops. Good.
Radiant.
Then you have Yitzchak, which is like, no, he's loving the Rishayim. He's fitting in the blessing into these like low vessels. Like he's not doing the natural thing. Like pass the light to Yaakov. That's what makes sense. He's the good guy. Just the light of Avram should flow to Yaakov. He's not doing that. He's busy with digging wells and bringing light into dark places.
And always holding out hope for Esau.
Right. Well, that's the midah of Yitzchak. So the midah of Yitzchak is really the midah of Hashem. That Hashem, the first showing of life looks like, okay, here's a God that's just like all good. But here's a God that has rules that the creation could fit, that life could fit the creation could enjoy it. So Yitzchak is a good word. Okay. God, these parshas are so essential, so deep. Okay. So let's go back and bring this home into us. So we see that Hashem has this midah, and obviously it's going to be about us trying to find this midah inside of us. Where do I awaken rachamim inside myself? Now, just in general, we're talking about all this avodah is like a very high level of being. Like you're pretty much like disconnected from like insults or like that could also be, it's like there could be something wrong about it. It could also be an escape sometimes, where if a person feels like there's real anger bubbling inside of them, you can't put on like a fake, like, okay, I'm just, I'm doing, like, if there's real anger, you have to deal with it. If there's real emotions, obviously this is like a level that we're aspiring to get to. But if you have emotions, you deal with your emotions. You're not like, okay, I'm not feeling this emotion because I should be right now, be godly and forgiving. Like, I want to be godly and forgiving. I'm human. I'm right now dealing with more emotion. This is my direction, but not to escape to this like super godliness, because you'll just fake being a god and really inside being angry, and then it's just gonna hold you and blow up. It's not gonna work. So we have to know that this is the direction that mankind we're headed. This is like being like the Tomer Devorah is pretty much being a superhuman. You're like untouchable. You're mamash untouchable. Like you're gonna see, like at the end, you're thinking if a person really behaves this way, and they're always in Emunah, they're always in bliss, they're always in Bitachon, they're always in forgiveness, they're never mad at anyone, they're never angry, like, whoa, who is this guy? So this is really what we could be, what we should be. This is where we're heading. But we have to be aware that we're coming to it from a body full of anger, full of ego, full of pain, so we have to be realistic to our place in the journey also. Okay.
Nice.
Please.
So Dick Schwartz, who founded IFS, International Family Systems, he talks about whatever is not transformed is transmitted. So our job is to transform these difficult emotions that we're born with, the anger, the jealousy, the resentment. We have to transform them inside of ourselves so we don't transmit them to our kids.
Beautiful. But it's not transformed, it's transmitted. Just on that point, and since we're talking about midot, there's no way to do that without Torah. That means there's no way to be a nice guy without Torah. And I just want to bring this as a strong statement, and I'll give you a story, and then we'll discuss. This goes back to the beginning of the show. Talk about this. Rabbi Yonasan Eibeshitz, I don't know if you guys heard of him, one of the great Achronim, one of the great sages that lived in Europe. Besides for being a great Talmid Chacham, he was a super duper genius. Like some tzaddikim were like mastermind geniuses. Like he could look at a tree and just tell you how many leaves are on. So obviously the king of Persia at that time really loved him. He was top advisor, bring him to the castle all the time and use him for counsel. Many, many advisors in the castle, most of them not Jewish. And this Rabbi Yonasan, this rabbi that the king loves and brings him in to ask him his important questions. Obviously this caused tremendous jealousy between the Christian and secular, whatever wise people, and this favoritism to this Jew. So they're always looking to show that he's wrong. So one of the standing arguments that they had between them, the wise men, was: is the animal nature able to be tamed? Could you actually tame an animal and, like, I guess, divorce its original nature and give it a second nature? Could you transform something and give it a second nature? That was the question. And they said yes, and he said no. And they were working on, I guess, training him. So this argument was a standing argument that went on. One day, Rabbi Yonasan Eibeshitz was sitting in his room learning. And he would smell tabak, shmek tabak, snuff. And he had this nice box of tabak. And suddenly a little mouse comes out from nowhere and just sits in the box and just sitting there looking. And he's looking at him. I guess they're looking at each other. I don't know how it went. But I guess he didn't throw him out of the box because he felt it was something holy. But suddenly there's a knock on the door. And the messengers from the king are there. Right now, the king needs you. There's a big ball, a big party. You're invited. So he closes the tabak box with the mouse inside, puts it in his pocket, and goes off. He's off to the king. Maybe I don't know if you noticed or not, but this is the story. They're sitting in the ballroom, and the king's inviting this massive, big party, and maybe it was a party, a birthday. I don't know what the occasion was, but all the wise men of the king are sitting there, and he's sitting there, the whole entourage, and suddenly the trumpet, and the doors open, right? The doors open, and in walk the waiters, and the waiters are walking with fine cocktails, right? But the waiters are not humans; they're cats. These are cats that are walking on twos with little ties and little, well-trained cats. They're trained cats, and they're serving fish, and they're serving, different things. And the wise men are looking at Rabbi Yonasan Eibeshitz, right? The proof is here. Right? What are you going to say? And obviously, thank you, Hashem. He reaches into his pocket. He opens up his tabak box, and the mouse comes running out. And imagine the chaos in the room. Forget about it. sprays everywhere. It's like one of those Cat in the Hat movies, like food flying everywhere. Tom and Jerry, exactly one of those scenes. And obviously, very case shut. So what's the essence of the story?
Cat's a cat.
A nature is a nature. And in order to change nature, only God himself could change nature. And God himself is the Torah. It means there's no way that I'm going to graduate my animalistic self if it's not for a godly miracle. A miracle.
That will come from Hashem.
That's Torah, and that's mitzvah, and that's tefillah. There's no other way for us to exit our nature. How? With what? With what power? You mamish need a miracle. So that's what we're involved in. We're involved in a life of transformation, which is so important. That's why to remember that everything has to do with tefillah. Really, really, everything has to do with davening, because what we're asking for, in essence, is a miracle. We're saying, Creator of the world, you made me natural. You made me also supernatural. You made me, but I want the supernatural. I want my identity to rise, and that should become my primary identity. So it's really a nest. I want the Gimel Midot HaRachamim to be shining in my personality. Imagine what you're asking. I want your essential love to be shining in my being. Wow. Instead of my natural self. Like, I need this out. I need you in. That's mamash a miracle. In the midmash, so now to bring it back home. Mamash kidmut zeh tzarich liot at. So mamash, this is how we have to be here. Shlo yomar v'chi ani metaken ma sheploni chata o ishchit. This guy did some sin, and I have to go clean up his mess. I'm going to clean up his mess. Lo yomar kach. Don't do that. Sh'ha'adam choteh, man sins. V'akadosh baruch hu be'atzmo shelo al yedei shaliach. The Creator himself, but not with the shaliach. Metakenet me'uvato. He does everything to fix up the crookedness that we made through our selfish decisions. And washes away the disgustingness that's created from a sin. A sin is so disgusting. All the pain in the world is just sin. There's no reason that anyone ever suffered anything if it wasn't for sin. Pain and sin is the same thing.
What about you?
What do you mean? Oh, Eo. Oh, yes. Oh. Okay, good. Eo, that's actually a fantastic question.
Yeah.
Arizal writes, Eo, so for those, Eo is a man that's like pretty much like a paradigm for suffering. Like, you want to say like suffer, like he's mamish, like suffer, like this is like Eo guy. So Eo, so why would the Creator do this to the guy?
Yeah. What was the setup?
Right. What was Eo? What's the setup? Like first he's like all these like beautiful family. So that Arizal writes, first of all, Eo is a tremendous discussion. The Gemara has a discussion, was Eo real or not?
Yeah.
Or is it like a fiction figure that Moshe Rabbeinu wrote?
Yeah.
There's a lot of discussion about Eo, but the Arizal says that Eo was real, and Eo was a Gilgul of Terach, the father of Avram Avinu.
Ah.
So now imagine that Terach, like imagine he was like mamish a gangster also, like you have Nimrod, the god of the world, wearing the clothes of Adam Arishon, like every animal that sees him bows down to him. It was really a super kind of person.
Ah.
And his best friend Terach is I mean, whatever Jew do, like manufacture idols. You be the god, let me make the business.
Yeah.
I'll sell it for you. He was selling idols to the whole world, right? A woman would walk in and say, "Hey, how old are you? You're 75. I have an idol for you. He's 85 years old. Poof, perfect for you. You make idols for people. What are you into the sun? Oh, I have an idol for you." So imagine that he was a chayil machtis, like a pretty not good position to be in. So Avram Avinu can't have a guy, and Avram Avinu is in heaven and his father's burning in hell. It doesn't work. So Avram Avinu does the avodah. That's whenever a person has a son that does tshuva, that's a secret that they've helped their parents to tshuva. Wow. And the parents help their parents, and very often our parents come back into our kids, into our grandkids, right? You invite Bubby back, invite Zadie back, and they come back. Yeah. They come back, right? My Zayd, I'll say this, Leilur Nishmato, my mother's father, Alav Shalom V'Shai Sachadov and Shlomo. He grew up religious, but his mother died when he was 5 years old. So his parents remarried, didn't get along with the stepmother. He left religion when he was very young. He was very, very abused, foster homes and all kinds of. He had he hated religion for the right reason.
Yeah.
There's so much in religion that's worth hating.
Yes.
God is nothing about God that's worth hating, but there's so much human that's That's not there. It's causes so much cruelty that galut we all suffer from this. So he was my mother became a Baalat Tshuva. My mother was an only child. Now imagine that he was divorced, my grandfather, living alone in Brooklyn. And he only had my mother. But he was so hurt from religion that when my mother became religious, he couldn't talk to her. He didn't come to her wedding. Wow. Now imagine. Now, obviously, after we were born, we went to the States, I was things softened, but I have the schut, I have a son that was born on his yahrzeit. Wow. 25 years later. Yeah. Now, his name was Yeshaya Issachar Dov. So none of my brothers and sisters were brave enough to give the full name. Yeah, I have a nephew, Yeshaya Dov, but my wife wasn't even thinking of giving this name. But Hashem runs the world. So he was born on his yahrzeit. So my wife is telling me, like, okay, come on. He's here. Like, what do you want? Now, he looks like him. Exactly. Same eyes, the same chin. Looks like him. The same, it's the same thing. Imagine what a chesed from Hashem. Imagine what a chesed of Hashem, that Hashem brings neshamas. Like, we're all here before. We're all here before. So
this is the difference between we can transform, but only Hashem can transmute.
We could choose. I mean, the choice of the bechira that we make is Hashem, we're with you.
We transform.
But we have to know that we're with you means that we're involved, we're choosing a miraculous life. The life of a Jew is a miraculous life. There's nothing natural about the life of a Jew.
And it comes from Hashem.
Of course, it could only come from
It can't come from us.
Exactly. There's nothing in you that could change your inherent nature. Why would you? You love your inherent nature.
But we transform ourselves to be able to be transmuted.
Right, so because you have a chelek Eloha, because you have a godly part inside of you, you have a higher vision. So you're able to just graduate your smaller eye and feel the greater eye. And now you can say, oh, this is the real eye. And this is what I want to become. And this is the identity that I have, the personality traits that I want to have. So the creator of the world forgives shalal shliach, not with shliach. It says, because we said, if we look at it deeper, forgiveness is the more creator in your life. Like the creator, the creation, the tshuva is there's nothing between us. It's just now it's us. So there's more God in your life. The creator is just appearing. He's just more there in your life. So he's more there. So first of all, let's take a great embarrassment to sin again, because like let's say a person sins and then they do tshuva, but now you're aware of like what's the actual mechanism that's happening at my sin. Like wow, like I'm embarrassed of this now because the sin creates a distance from the creator. Right? What did Adam Rishon do when he sins? He hides. So now in his hiding reality, God's not there. But nothing changed by God. He just went under. He went under the hiding. So the embarrassment of I'm going to sin again. I'm going to cause a distance. I'm going to cause another gap again. I don't want that. I want to stay in my zone. I want to stay in my being where I should be. I want to stay in the unity. The king himself washes the begadim because this is very deep. See this again in Kabbalah. There's a concept called levushim, levush. Very very deep concept. This comes from the pasuk "Devorah legano lirot baganim velilkot shoshanim." Creator came into the world. Lirot baganim velilkot shoshanim. That's the word levush. It means to take neshamot, to bring souls. That means the soul comes into the world to get a levush. The levush is machshava dibur maaseh. In order, us being right now in the body, we have the ability to think, we have the dimension of speech, and we have the dimension of maaseh. Not every human being has this. There's a concept called cheresh katan. There's a cheresh, a person that's blind and mute, deaf and mute, or a person that's shoter, that's not intelligent, that's not fully intelligent, or katan is not. So that means that he doesn't have machshava dibur maaseh. Not every being has the ability to lachshov, ledaber, ve'lasot. If I'm right now, if I could think, if I could speak, if I could act, that means that my essence is right now in 3 levushim of machshava dibur maaseh. Now these levushim are levushim of olam hazeh, right? So we're meant to transform them and make them levushim for godliness. So my sins, what do my sins do? They don't really cause a blemish on my neshama. They really cause a blemish on the levushim, on the ability of the soul to be mitlabesh in the lower world. So in the tshuva, what happens is that the water, the rechitza, the tahara, the chesed goes on the levushim. Now the Creator is revealed not only in your essence, He's revealed in your thoughts, in your speech, in your action. He's revealed in the lower words. Like now He's malbish otcha. It's a much, much higher halbasha of godliness than you had before. Let's sakem this. We're aware now of another deeper level of the mercy of Hashem that's obviously revealed when a person does avirot. And we're going to bring this into our human relationships because we said the magic of life is in the human relationships. Where do I find a ladder? Where could I transform? When could I become God? Only when you are horrible to me. Only when you're disgusting to me. Only when you sin to me. Only when you insult me. And then I right now want to behave for my natural self. I want to be hurt. I want to get justice. And now I have an opportunity to say, no, don't surrender to your lower nature. Don't be in your lower I. I'm a part of a greater I. Wait, I want to be like the Creator. I could act like Him because I'm so upset. I want to destroy you and I want to embarrass you and yell at you. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to seize this moment and say, wow, Creator, right now I want to exercise love. I want to be like you. I want to be a zaken malach chamim. I want to be full of mercy. I want to be like you. So it's only when things go wrong in the human relationship, that's the invitation inward to mercy. Because when you're my friend and when you're nice, I'm not going to have to be merciful to you. I like you and I'm nice to you, and that's it. We're just nice to each other. Nothing really changes. It's only when your animal soul gets awakened, when someone pushes your buttons and awakens your ego. Ooh, it hurts, right? You feel it? You feel you have animal soul? Slaughter that to God now. Take that korban and say, Hashem, I'm taking that sheep and I'm going to slaughter it to you. I'm going to elevate. I'm going to cause it short. L'shem Hashem ekra. I say, Creator, I know that I'm shayach to a higher being. I'm a nishmat Yisrael. I'm a chelek miklal, chelek Elohim imal mamash. I know that in my potential higher being, I have the ability to be totally merciful and not so petty and small like I am now. Please help me be like this. I want to seize this moment in this relationship to not just forgive, but no, this is an invitation for godliness. So when we look at things this way, we look at people, we look at our relationships in a higher and a more, there's this se'uma roma nechem. The whole Yahadut is Shema Yisrael, mitzvot Shema. Shema, to listen, to hear, to accept, to meditate. Shema is also Rashi Tevot se'uma roma nechem. Shin mem ayin. Lift up your eyes to heaven. So obviously there's so much big segula to look at heaven. Just Arizal told Chaim Vital, you should live in a house with big windows. Always look to the sky. Even looking to the sky stam is a big segula. But the Kotzker Rebbe explains that wasn't mean summa roma nechem. Lift up your vision. Don't lift up your eyes. Of course the eyes, but lift up your vision. If I look at the world as okay, I have an ego. Okay, like I could be mad at you and forgive you, and like, well, you're right. I could look at the world from a small place and stay small and stay human and keep our relationship human and stay a baby. Or I could say, no. Life is a tremendous transformation. Man is meant to transform, to go from animal to God. Whoa, what a journey. What an opportunity. Where does this happen? Where does this happen? Where does the magic happen?
In our consciousness.
In the conscious, but when things go wrong.
When we choose it.
In the human relationship. And then you could choose when things go wrong, when your animal soul is activated and you want to just with your fire and fume be so animal and be so you, then you could in your mind, in your transformation, exactly say, Creator of the world, thank you for this opportunity. I'm going to close my eyes right now and thank you and dig inside myself and say, how am I becoming more merciful to this relationship? Because this is what I'm here for. This is what we came to the world for. This is why we're aging. We're aging because our soul is aging. Our body is nothing. Our bodies are showing us what's happening inside of us. But aging can take people to different extremes. You know, in America, there's a term, dirty old man. What a horrible term. This is a term that's brought from the Mishnah. The Mishnah says, Ziknei tamidei chachamim. When a person, the more they wiser they get, the older they get, the wiser they get, because the physical doesn't work already, and they understand the essence, and they appreciate wisdom, and they see people for who they are. They get more refined than what's like a refinery. But when you're dealing with a person, when a person is an old man that's not running Torah, they just get more frustrated and more frustrated, and they want to chase their taivas, and things don't work already, and you can't do anything, and you can't. So you get more frustrated and more frustrated, and you're just working at you're sitting on a time bomb. Like you're working at a graph. The graph is going down, you're going up. There's no way it's going to get better. It's going to get worse and worse every day. But if you're aging, if your essence, if your identity is spirit, we're here as a spirit, we're not here as a body, then aging is fantastic. We embrace it. We honor the old because aging brings with it chokhmah. And we understand that aging brings with us mercy, rachamim, compassion. And that's what we're here to be, more compassionate. So it's even a way, look, today politically, I was in Efrat. Efrat, right? So for a very, very special. Very special. And we're talking, a lot of the things that came up there is Rechov HaPalmach. So today it's a very loaded. No, here in Tzfat we're more, but when you're mamish in the center of the country, and our countries are in war, and there's no family that's not affected by war firsthand, whether it's loved ones or. We were talking about Efrat. Why was that?
Because that's where you were.
Yeah.
And they were talking about Rechov HaPalmach.
We're talking about, very good. So obviously this time of war brings up a lot, the charedim and chilonim and going to the army. There's a lot loaded in our family. And I was talking about this is so sad because we're really one family, Am Yisrael. And 2,000 years ago, we were thrown out of our house because we were bad. And some of us went to Africa, and some of us went to Europe. Some of us got blue eyes, some of us became tan. And then we come back together. The Creator's bringing us home in this Gula now, and you can't recognize each other. It's so sad. Like, why are you white? Why are you black? Why are you tall? Why are you? We're one family. We're Mishpachat Israel. And this type of vision is so necessary today. Not just in my relationships with you, with my wife, with my kids, with the person that tells you something wrong, with our family. They realize that if things are wrong, then this is a deep invitation for me to have mercy on Am Yisrael. How much rachamim does our nation need? How much mercy and compassion do we all need? So when things are funny and tricky and wrong and there's arguments and debates, instead of being pulled into that place of being right and you're wrong and falling to that place of fighting, let's take this midah of the Talmud Devorah and say, wait.
I was reading the book of Jewish wisdom, and was a small conversation between a Rabbi Shmuel and somebody else. He said, how do you know when it's morning? First one said it's morning when you can tell the difference between a blue thread and a purple thread. The second one said it's morning when you can see your brother's face. That speaks volumes, but we're all brothers and sisters.
Right.
Well, and to really see each other's face.
That's so beautiful what you're saying, and I'll tell you one more thing that in Makat Choshech, the final Makat before Makat Bechorot, Hashem brought a great darkness. That darkness was a supernatural darkness. It wasn't the absence of light. But Yamesh Choshech was a darkness that actually had substance. The Medrash tries to describe how dark was it. And actually the Chumash says, Lo ra'u ish et achiv. It was so dark that a man couldn't see his brother. The Chidush HaRim says that is darkness. In essence. Now to the contrary, in Kodesh HaKodashim, Holy of Holies, we have the Kruvim. The Kruvim are a face of a baby boy and a baby girl looking at each other, sometimes looking away from each other, the whole discussion where, right? Over there, the Torah says, they're facing each other. So it says the Holy Chidush HaRim. When two brothers you can't see each other, that's darkness. But when two brothers can see each other, that's Kodesh HaKodashim. That means Kodesh HaKodashim is a Kedusha that we create by attending to each other, by being Kruvim. And darkness is a reality that becomes when we face away, when we can't see each other.
And the essence is, what does it mean to see? It means to recognize.
To recognize that we're one and to have compassion and that
there's
we're one.
a mirroring of some sort that's going on. You are my brother. You are. We are. You are we.
Right. There's a
you
we.
are
right.
we.
There's the I. The real word is that the feeling the greater I. That Am Yisrael is really a greater I. Now, to get to that, really, if we're honest, yesh avodah. Yesh avodah. There's work because the galus has been like each one of us has been in serious galus, and involving politics with Israeli religion made everything like so ugly, because politics is just like the ugliest thing that exists. Like connected with Chavan makes everything. So it really takes from us so much tefillah.
Yeah.
Like it says, and we'll finish with this, like the Noam Elimelech writes, Adarabba,
But that's
ten
the
belibeinu, shenireh kol echad ma'alot chavereinu velo chesronah. So the Noam Elimelech has this amazing tefillah that he prays every day before he starts praying. He says, Creator of the world. It's the contrary. That means my natural self is to see your bad points because I want to feel better next to you. I'm always comparing my better to your worst. This is how you feel. The fastest way to feel an advantage is to point out your disadvantage and right away your natural advantage. That's not. So Adrabah, contrary to that human tendency, I don't want to be this way. Ten belibeinu, transform my heart. That when I see your weaknesses, I should see your advantages. That means in a deeper way, I could look at it and say, you know what, you have weaknesses. I'm going to put them aside. Let me focus on your good points. That's the pshat. But I want to suggest deeper that I want to look at your weaknesses and say that your weaknesses are your God gifts. That's your imperfections. And they are your ladder to your own perfection. We all are full of imperfections. My imperfections are the way that one day I'll be close to God. If I was born perfect, I'd be perfect, and the whole thing would be over before it started. So I'm born imperfect to become. So what's my imperfections? They're my chips into the game. So are yours. So why am I looking at your imperfections and I'm hating you? Let me look at your imperfections and say, wait, this is your ladder to get close to God. This is how you were made off. We're all off. What? Right. Don't hit me with your ladder, right? Exactly. So very good. So and we see, let's finish with this, and we see that the nekudah here is that it's really tefillah. That the Noam Elimelech made it his business to daven every day about this, because if not, we're going to be anti-Semites. We're going to hate Jews.
We are.
No, I tell myself, I don't want to be an anti-Semite. I want to love every Jew.
I see it all the time.
No, but
I don't want to see it. Yeah.
We're holding in a generation that could transform it. I believe that our generation could bring the Mashiach. There's such diversity between us that if we get it together, we're already one.
That's your job. That's our job. But the geula that does not belong to everyone is not the geula.
Right. So
and that's the world,
the wars that are happening in the war now, in the world now. The Ramak writes that the goyim killing each other now is the goyim that are not shaykh to the geula. Many goyim are shaykh to the geula, many goyim are not. And Hashem knows who. Like they're down in Syria, they're doing a good job, better job than we did, just killing each other.
Right.
And far be it from me to figure out which one is which right now.
My father says, "Hatzlacha lekol hatzadim." May all sides be very successful. Shana tova, chodesh tov. We should have the schus. So we should have the schus to connect to the mercy of Hashem, to love it, and to daven for it, and to realize that there's no way we could get it. It's supernatural, only with a miracle. And it's a good thing. We're in miracle seasons. So right, if you want a miracle, Kislev is a good month to be in because it's happening. So ask for it and experience it. We should all live super magical lives. And Hashem should help us see the geula. Mamash, just see the geula.
Amen. Amen. Thank
you.
I know there's 13 apps. There's 13 apps to the mercy. I'll get that, and I know we're talking about those 13.
Wants to go to, I need to go to Physical Florence, and I want to go to Mikvah before I go to Physical Florence.